Hello there, and welcome back to the Smell of Logic channel. I am Ramona, and today's Reddit stories, the stories, are a little dark. Could be a little dark. There might be some levity, you never know. But they're very serious, and so here we go. How do you identify someone who's given up all hope on life, but just goes through some of the motions? So I hope you're ready for this. And here are the answers. Ready? They're over 35. And then, of course, the reply is or under. Wait, people out there still have hope? How? I've had good times in life. It was once good. It can be good again, hopefully. Their eyes don't really crinkle when they smile. Their laughter is forced but subtle, and in silent moments you catch them just staring off at nothing. They're masters of deflection, so that's when someone gets a hint there's something might be wrong. They just change the subject and quickly spin it to something the other person wants to talk about. For them, it's easier to go through the motions than to open up to anyone or face the truth of what they're feeling. I don't appreciate being called out like that. Is this a personal attack or something? Also, apathy, which is what OP is really describing. Loss of normal interests, hobbies, video games, not excited or a spark of emotion when something positive happens or will happen. Mood doesn't deviate up or down when hearing good or bad news, lack of appetite, or lower food intake. Don't confuse this with depression, which the symptoms can be similar and they can coexist. I think of apathy as being bland, while depression is a sad, low mood pit. Apathy can also be a symptom of depression. Depression can also be prolonged apathy. I just came here to have a good time, and I'm honestly feeling attacked right now. Well, that's where I am, emotionally and mentally spent, and physically exhausted trying to function enough to keep my head above water. I'm just tired of every day feeling like a struggle just to feel not miserable. I just want to stop, be done with life that is clearly not worth the resources I use. Be done with this life surrounded by selfish jerks who only take and never give. They mirror whatever surrounds them. If people around them are laughing, they laugh out. But the second they leave, they stop. If people are sad and comfort is provided, they are a part of that. When mixed groups come together, they either disappear or become the loudest center of attention, depending on what they feel is expected of them. They vague post on Reddit. They don't appear to enjoy anything. They don't enjoy their work, they lack hobbies or don't do their hobbies, and they don't have much of a social life. They spend their free time consumed by addictive behaviors to escape reality as much as possible. Alcohol, TV, and aimlessly wandering around the internet are popular choices. They usually don't compromise in anything but the bare minimum. They don't make plans for the future as they don't like to promise they'll be somewhere or do something they won't be able to when the time comes. This tends to leave them isolated even if they appear functional, but the truth is they just feel empty. I think that's why it's so hard to identify them, because they put on a mask that makes them pass as whatever is normal, when in reality they don't feel much inside. Maybe by making deeper conversation you can identify them when they don't have much to tell or don't really have a positive or any view of the future. And someone asks, what did you mean when they usually don't compromise in anything but the bare minimum? Just wondering on that bit. You nailed it on everything else. I really don't make solid plans for anything. I tried for a little while to at least do meal planning, that kind of thing, but I usually eat. That lasted about 3 days. Then I gave up when the food went bad, so I tossed it. I have no plans for the future. I work, take care of the pup, and sleep. I eat every few days, just so that there's that. My 5-year plan was to try and get better at 40, but if I'm in the same position in 4 years, I'll probably just call it. No sense in trudging through this shit for another 20 to 30. The worst part is that the 5-year plan is that I don't know how to start, so I haven't. It's really a flawed plan, but I'm tired of this. I don't do anything for fun, and I don't have any hobbies that I care about. The only times I really do care about, the only thing is one of my siblings, when my dad invites me out. I jump on the offer every time, even if I'm not that interested. I just want to be part of something. And they replied with, I mean that usually the things a person without hope does are limited to the ones they absolutely must do to keep surviving. Getting up to work, finishing tasks, etc. but anything else just seems like it's too much work and effort they can't spare, which is why one of the things that starts failing is their social life. I think it's good that you have identified yourself that there's something wrong with your life, but what use does that do? I think one of the problems is that your plans for getting better are either too vague or too ambitious, or both. They're overbearing and not realistic because of the state you're in. I know it's a bit taboo, but I 100% know that seeing a therapist would help. Psychologists aren't only there for the crazy, but also for normal people who, like you, are struggling and don't know where to start to make their lives better. I really hope you take this into account. Sometimes we just need someone to help us organize things. Hope you feel better. Cheers. As someone who has given up all hope, despite spending decades in treatment, I think that's a bit naive. My plans are getting better are non-existent. I'm simply existing from day to day. It's incredibly unhelpful to tell people who have likely sought help that they should get some help. So you're getting a lot of back and forth with some of this. I'm not going to delve too much more into that part. We're just going to move on. Side note, look into anhedonia. If any people are feeling this way, the loss of interest in hobbies and that sort of thing, that definitely helped me once I figured out what it was and stuff. It's a lot to work through, and yeah, just go look up anhedonia if you're feeling any of this, and might help you. But let's continue on with these posts, because that's the whole point. When this person tries to avoid a talk about something emotional or personal, they prefer to have fun. Even though they don't feel happy, it is still easier than admitting the real feelings. Look for anyone who opts to spend 40 hours a week in a cubicle. I could write an essay about that, but it would honestly be easier just to film myself for a day and let you see that as a reference. For someone who has given up hope on life and spend most days just existing, depression is a pretty good sign. The fact that they appear to be going through the motions is also a good one. If you think they've given up on life, they probably had. A flat effect is another. They're often tired, they don't engage in conversation, and they have no interest in things they used to enjoy. They don't try to spin things, they just don't engage at all. Their eyes are empty. It's usually the person making everyone else laugh. It's the guy in the mirror. I hate that prick. I am that person, not saying on edge, drink too much, want help, not even effing around. Their facial expressions are forced. They have no emotion until they see a friend or someone else. They just glow up when someone is around, so they don't look sad. Find a middle-aged man who married someone named Karen. I think you really have to know the person to make any sort of judgment on them. So there you go. Knew this one was going to be a little much. A few more replies here. Insomnia is the only thing in therapy that helped me with much. I was introverted and not leaving my room, so I was eating in bed, doing homework in bed, watching TV in bed, playing online in bed. Once I said my bed would be off limits for anything but sleep or sex. I was able to actually sleep again and haven't struggled with it since. Now I wake up too early when I'm depressed instead. I guess I just associated the feeling of relaxing in bed with everything except sleep. You don't seem like you ought to owe the dues you're paying in this life. I hope you find satisfaction someday. Therapy didn't work for me either. Plenty of these things helped, but therapy just seemed so ridiculous and patronizing. I couldn't take it seriously, and the Sesame Street level talks about friendship and feelings were so cringe. You're not alone in being completely put off by it. I've cried more than once. I've cried more often during yoga. Come to think of it, yoga was the way that helped me in the long run, although it was sometimes just as corny. If you haven't explored torturing yourself into a state of physical exhaustion, it might be an avenue worth exploring. It's hard to have hope sometimes. Just keep waking up and try to be appreciative of the small beauties around us. It's all so temporary. So there you go again. Lots of stuff. Not a very hopeful thread here, not a very hopeful video perhaps, but maybe you were able to identify some of the things going on with you. There is a lot, I think, desperation despair out in the world right now. And not just, I'm based here in America, obviously, but listening to other people, it's not cultural, it's not nationalistic, it's a human condition. Um, humans humans need something that we're not getting, and I'm going to leave it up to you to comment on what you think that is. But I would say I hope you enjoyed listening to this video, but it's not really a video necessarily to enjoy, but it is thought provoking. Gives you something to think about, gives you something to realize you're not alone out there. And I'm sorry if you feel like you are, but sometimes it's just something we all have to go through. I hope if therapy works for you, you're going through that. If you have anyone you can talk to, take them up on it, because most of the time you'll find that people are willing to listen to you. They may not have all the answers, but sometimes just talking, just sharing what you're going through can unburden you a bit. So hope you all are doing well, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.